Hey there! Thanks for checking out this video to see what's new in FarmBright. For this month, you'll see two large updates to your crops and planting features. They include the ability to set a start date to better define your growing season, and a new way to record a loss in the unfortunate event that one of your plantings does not reach maturity. Beyond that, you'll also see a new way to interact with your farm map, where you can now take notes and add tasks directly from the map itself. There are also various other improvements to inventory recipes, the calendar sync, and a new notes report for your crops. Let's first take a look at configuring your season start date. You can do this within your account settings. Scroll down and you'll see the field for it towards the bottom. This setting is meant to help you better define your growing season. Previous to this new feature, the growing season for all farms was defined as a standard calendar year. We wanted to improve this for farmers in the southern hemisphere and give every user the flexibility to start their growing season at the most opportune time. This simple setting updates your crop plan to reflect your preferred start date and determines what crops are currently planted based on it as well. This is also used to reset the harvest gauges for your perennial plantings, helping you see the seasonal yields from your perennials at a quick glance. You might think of this as a cutoff date to end the current season and start a new one. You're effectively defining a growing year that does not need to be based on a calendar year. We're using the FarmBright headquarters located in Colorado, USA for this example. Our last frost date is May 15th. Our first frost might happen on October 31st, so we might set the start of the planting season to April 1st. Now, we might not actually put plants in the ground until after the first frost in May, but we might start our seedlings in a greenhouse a bit earlier than that, and thus want our plans and schedule to reflect that. And just the opposite, if we lived in the southern hemisphere, we might set the start date to sometime in September so we can get our plants ready for spring sprouting before putting them in the ground in November. Also, be aware that the default season start date is based on the annual calendar year and thus starts on January 1st. That might work great for you if you are located in a tropical region and grow all year round. However, you can still change it if you'd like your crop plan and plantings to reflect a different date range by default. Let's save our selection, and then navigate to plantings, and look at the crop plan to see that it now begins on the season start date and runs for a full year until the start of the next season. Additionally, the season start date will be used in both the grow locations and my crop section to determine what is currently planted. Now, overall, currently planted means that you are still working with that planting in this season. It's defined by having a seed start date, planting date, or harvest date within the season. So if any of those dates fall within the season that you've defined, you'll see the crops reflected as currently planted. The total harvested amounts and expected harvest dates are also determined based on any current planting. Let's take a look at these peppers, where we'll see that current plantings are being calculated based on the April 1st start date that we defined earlier. And of course, this will run through today's date, with anything started or planted after that being shown in future plantings. And of course, the end date will continue to increase until March 31st of next year, when we'll flip to our next season to start April 1st, 2026. At that point, you would see all of the plantings for that current season, and these plantings that we see below would be moved to the History tab. And if you want any of them to move there earlier than the end of the season, you can always choose to mark them complete for each individual planting. And perennials are going to work slightly differently, so let's go back to our crop type list, where we'll take a look at these apples, which were planted back in 2022, but are still listed in our current plantings. Of course, as a perennial, we'll expect to harvest from the orchard every year, and FarmBright will use the season start date to determine the next expected harvest and how much was harvested this season. Note that we have harvested from these apple trees previously. You'll see harvest from 2023 and 2024 shown here, but that our current planting of this perennial is reflecting the expected harvest for this season. And similar to what we saw on annuals, if you didn't want this planting to move forward to the next season, you can always mark it as complete to archive it in the history. Now, I'm not going to do that for these apples right now, most of these 125 trees are still active, healthy, and producing. However, I am going to use this planting to show you the next new feature for this month, which is your ability to record a loss on a planting. You can record a reason for the loss, which might be things like pests, weather, nutrient deficiency, or even improper care or harvesting. In this case, we'll say that some of our trees were infested with pests, and then put in the number of trees in this planting that had that problem. You can use this to record a full or partial loss. Perhaps if there was a weather event that had caused worse damage, we might need to record a loss of all 125 plants. But in this case, we'll make a quick note and then save, and see that the amount planted was reduced by 5, and the area planted was automatically reduced as well. If we clicked into the planting, we'll also see the loss recorded in the planting history. There is also a new report for this, so let's go to Reports, choose Plantings, and then run the Crop Losses report. This report shows us the date of the loss, where it occurred, the starting amount, and the amount lost, with how much remains, and then a loss percentage calculated automatically. And while we're here taking a look at planting reports, I also want to quickly let you know that we've updated the notes report to include notes that were written for both plantings and grow locations. Now we'll go to the map to see our next update, which is the ability to add notes and tasks directly from the map. You can do this from any field, bed, or growing enclosure that is linked to a grow location. Let's zoom in and pick our back lot, where we'll see 2 new options to add notes and tasks. Because this mapped area is connected to this grow location, I can easily add a note that is automatically linked to it. Additionally, if I cancel the note, I can also choose to add a task where that task is also automatically associated with that grow location. So if you're out scouting your fields and need to jot down a quick note about something you noticed, or see something that needs to be addressed in the future, you can now add those records directly from the map itself. Next, we've also added the ability to change the orientation of the text on the map. If you'd prefer that the text be displayed vertically, like these beds here, you can click the mapped area, choose to edit details, and check the box to rotate label vertically. So while your fields and beds that run east to west like these are probably best displayed horizontally, if you have fields that run north-south, you may find them easier to read if you rotate the text. And one last update to the map this month. You'll now find a new type of area that you can draw for a hazard. Maybe there's a large rock or a ditch that we need to avoid when harvesting this pasture. We can then draw the hazard and name it to indicate what it is. And of course, the next time that we're looking at the map, we'll know to look out for that hazard. Now we'll quickly take a high-level look at 3 more updates for this month. Let's go to the schedule, where we've updated the automated calendar sync with Google, Apple, and Microsoft to now include events and tasks up to a year in the future. Previously, this was limited to 90 days, so if you'd like your FarmBright tasks and events to show up on your personal calendar, you can navigate to your profile in the upper right, choose Settings, and use this link to set your schedule for the next year. We'll then move over to Livestock, where we've updated records to be automatically marked as neutered if you record a castration. Let's pick this bull, note that they are currently intact, then we'll quickly add a treatment for a castration, and then save, and see that he was now automatically marked as neutered. And for the last update to go over this month, we'll navigate to Inventory, and pick our fertilizer mix to see that you can now add up to 20 individual ingredients when creating a recipe. This might be separate fertilizers, specific chemicals, different amendments, or anything else that needs to be added. You might also use this for unique vitamins in your feed, or more complicated recipes for finished products that you sell in your online market. Previously, you were only able to add 10, so now you can expand this to be more detailed when listing your ingredients for an item. Alright, that about wraps it up for this month. Reach out to us if you have any questions about how any of these new features work. See you next month!